Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and to a very different video today. So today we're going to take an in-depth look at Automobilista 2. I've had this sim in my Steam library since around this time last year. I bought it along with the season pass in the Steam sale, and although I've dabbled in it from time to time over the last year, I've not really given it much serious playtime. From a pure content point of view, AMS2 is an absolute no-brainer. Especially now, while it's one of the titles on the Steam's autumn sale. It can be had for, let's have a look. I think it's around 14 quid. Have a look. Here we go. Right, it's in my library already, but there you go, 13.99. And with the season pass bundle, it's around 55, 60 quid, something along those lines. So, like, with all the content you get, it's a hell of a lot of content for just a little over 60 quid. One of the main reasons I haven't played AMS2 is probably because of early reviews, like in particular, like the car physics. It's built on the same engine as Project Cars 2, the Madness engine, and that kind of left a lot to be desired, you know, in Project Cars 2, which incidentally is my first foray into sim racing. Now, I really liked Project Cars 2, mainly because at the time I didn't know any better. And like AMS2 now, the content you got for the price that you paid was just insane value for money. So as someone new into sim racing, Project Cars 2 was perfect for me. And I think AMS2 is probably perfect for a lot of new people coming into the sim racing space now. Like, I can remember at the time when AMS2 came out, a lot of the YouTube sim racers were really critical of how the cars seemed to handle. That they felt floaty, like floaty feeling, disconnected from the track completely, too slidey, unrealistic handling. Now I've not driven a race car, and so I don't know for sure how a car should feel around the track. So when big sim racers tell you it just doesn't feel right, whether you like it or not, you're influenced by these comments. Now let's get AMS2 up. There we go. So, like, there's your. Let's just go into just a quick look at the content that you get. Now, if we let's go test day. Right. So, this is just your basic, you know, like at the moment. So all I want to do is just like highlight the amount of content that you get. So look, I mean, it's ridiculous. Caterhams, like, you know, the Copper Classics, trucks, F3, Formula Classics, which are brilliant, I've got to say. But I mean, they're just retro. It's just, you know, even like Formula Ultimate, it's like sort of not last year's Formula 1, F1 before. This is sort of last year's F1. Then you've got like sort of the IndyCar types, and then you've got the older Formula 1s. It's just GT Open, GT1, GT3, 4, 5, GTEs, karts. The content you get is ridiculous, and it's the same with the tracks. I mean, a lot of these, like Brazilian tracks and stuff, you won't get these in any other sim. You know, it's just loads. Just like, there's a lot of content, basically. That's what I'm trying to say, is a hell of a lot of content. Now, let's get, where were we? So yeah, so like I say, the main cause for concern for a lot of people, or a lot of the big racing like YouTubers, was like it just didn't feel right. And as much as you don't want to, like they influence you. I mean, they're influencers at the end of the day. So yeah, sat in my Steam library for the best part of the year without really using it much at all. Now I'm a big iRacer, big fan of iRacing. I've been an iRacer for the best part of 3 years. I've spent many hundreds of pounds on content, and much of that content now is wasted, you know, because they're on cars and series that are now completely obsolete or very, very poorly supported in the sim. However, like the content that I played mostly, which was sort of GT3s, GTEs, GT4s, occasionally LMP2, and the Cup car, the Porsche Cup car, very well supported. I've had my money's worth. Like, I'm not hating on iRacing, but I kind of, I've kind of had my eyes opened a little bit. Like now that like I've been away from iRacing for like a week or so, and like my subscription ended on, when was it? I think it was on Friday, and I've not renewed yet. And like I really don't know whether I'm gonna renew. It's just I've almost felt obligated to play iRacing for the last couple of years because of the amount of money that I've sunk into it. If I don't keep subscribing, I can't play any of the content that I paid for. I've now got into the mindset of writing off that cost and like just enjoying sim racing, whether that's iRacing, ACC, Race Room, AMS2, the original Assetto Corsa, or even Project Cars 2. My first introduction into sim racing. Yeah, and like so, I've done a bit of research on AMS2 because like when you see videos on AMS, it looks absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. So let's just get into the sim. Like just, I've got the settings on at the moment, which would be for what I use in VR, but we're not in VR at the moment. Let's just get a little session booted up, just like a test session. And no, this is probably not the best one to do, but like it just, even like on like very minimal settings, which I use for VR, which equally are just as bloody nice. All right, let's put some headphones on so I can hear what's going on. The sound isn't as good as, what I would say something like... Before we even start, let me just come out of this because I haven't turned my wheel on. So, that was good, wasn't it? Let's just come out of it. And we're going to have to reboot AMS2 because I didn't put my wheel on. Oh, nothing like planning for a video, is there? Let's just come out of this. Oh, no, that's it's locked up. There we go. Come out and then we'll go back in. What an idiot. Sorry about this, guys. It's all one take. I don't plan with videos. And what we'll do, we'll set up a little race. Only a couple of laps, but just with a little bit of some transitions and stuff, just so you can see how beautiful it is. It really is a truly stunning sim. Single race. Let's set this up. But yeah, we're going to start. We start at 4 AM. Time progression 20x. Couple of weather slots. Yeah. Formation app. No. Save. Opponent seats. I think I've got it on 90% at the moment because I've only just started with AMS2, so I'm just finding my feet. Let's get this up and running. Right, we will edit the setup and we'll just go to, yeah, just this was what I've been using, just like a test setup. Back, drive. So let's just look how beautiful this looks. Now I've got these settings on what I would use in VR, so it's not on anything really high. I'm on a very mid-range PC. Didn't really want to bully my way through there. Now this to me, this makes other racing games look decidedly ordinary. This is visually stunning. I mean, I can actually say it's probably the most beautiful racing game I've ever played. I haven't played them all, but of the major ones that are sort of we all play now, ACC is nice looking, but maxed out, that really taxes my system. I don't know whether it's the Unreal Engine that does that, and I certainly can't play AMS2 in VR. Now, I'm not a graphics snob, but I think if you're playing a game, it's got to look nice. What I love about this is you don't need a real high-end system to make it look lovely. You know, make it look really stunning. And so I play a lot in VR, hence the name of the channel. And like, this is just the most immersive driving experience I've had to date in sim racing. You don't need to sacrifice too much graphic fidelity. The visual experience in VR is second to none in sim racing. It's just been optimised really well by Razer. Like I say, I've only got a mid-range PC. It's like a 10700 processor, Intel, a 3070 graphics card. And other than that, it's just a mid-range, you know, low mid-range as well nowadays. Now that the 4090 and that are out. Whoa. I mean, on a flat screen, you can literally bump everything up to max, and it's just draw dropping. Now, much like Elite Dangerous, when that first came out, and when VR was just sort of taking off with the DK2 and the CV1, I always felt like Elite Dangerous was a bit of a standout VR game. Like it's something that you would show your mates to see how VR was, and I truly believe AMS2 is like that. You know, if I wanted to show off like a racing game in VR, I'd boot AMS2 up, because I really do feel like it's a standout VR experience. Just pause for a sec. Like when you'll see in a minute, like when we get into like the transition, and you'll see like the way. Let's just go back, and you'll see what I mean. Because we're just getting into like the day-night transition here. We've gone like from 4 o'clock in the morning when it's pitch black, and the sun's going to start rising very soon. Now, I'm hoping it will do it on this particular race, but you'll see some mist just rolling in across the track. And honestly, when you see that in VR, it blew my mind. I was like, wow. That's not to say that any other of all the other racing sims, like in VR, they're all incredibly immersive. I mean, I love racing in VR, because it really makes you feel like you're in the car rather than just like controlling a car on a flat screen. But I think Razer and AMS2 in particular, it just does it better than anybody else. So, getting on to those early reviews of the physics and stuff. When I first booted it up, admittedly, it weren't great. You know, it felt very slidey. So it's probably the biggest area in any sort of sim racing game where a title will either live or die. You know, like if it's too arcadey, it'll always be a simcade, or an arcade. It's too arcadey. You know, I mean, I can't really comment on what the physics were like on release because I didn't play it, because I was influenced by the big YouTubers who said it's good but it's very disappointing. It doesn't act like real. I mean, look, this. Hopefully, we're going to get some of the mist across the track, because it really blew my mind when I first saw it. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And like in VR, it was just so immersive. So yeah, if some of my favourite content creators, if they didn't feel like it felt right, then you're going to be influenced by that. You know, like, and I didn't touch it for the first year or so that AMS2 was out. I didn't even give it a look. And I only bought it last year, around about this time last year, because it was on the Steam sale. I thought, that's cheap, I might as well just get it. And although I played it a little bit, I didn't go in depth into it. When I first booted up the game, I took out the AMG. It's one of my favourite GT3 cars, around Monza, and the handling was weird. I didn't like it, and I kind of agreed with those early reviews. You see the mists across the track. Look at it, it's just outstanding. Yeah, when I first booted up the game, it really reminded me of Project Cars 2. You know, you drift around every corner and you slide around it and still set good times. You know, so it's just a little bit. I thought, yeah, they were right. You wasted your money, Paul. It's just look at that mist, just rolling, just going across the track. It's just amazing. And in VR, I know I keep banging on about VR, but in VR, it blew my mind. So the good thing with the developers, Razer, they are continually updating and patching the game. They haven't stopped development. They're not in maintenance mode. Now, I looked through over the course since the game was released, the amount of patches and updates and stuff to physics and tyre models and force feedback profiles. It's just constant. They haven't stopped developing the game. There seems like a real commitment to them, like sort of listening to the player and listening to the fans of the title, and doing what they can. So after spending all weekend, or a good portion of the weekend, on different settings, camera settings, force feedback profiles and car setups, I can honestly say that I think this has got the best force feedback that I played in any of the games. And like iRacing, ACC, Race Room a very close second. I really like the way Race Room feels, the force feedback. But AMS2, once you've got things set up, I mean, I feel completely connected to the track. I can feel the road surface underneath the car. Turning into corners, I'm not sliding, or... I mean, you can set up the car that way, if that's how you want to slide, but I like an authentic experience, and this really is... Oh, a little bit of a nudge there, sort of closed in on me. I quite like the new radar as well. Something that iRacing could really do with. Yeah, so like I say, the handing was really weird when I first booted it up. But once you dig around on various forums, like Race Department especially, looked at guys on the camera settings. I know that there was a lot of camera settings that made the car look bouncy and floaty across the track. But once you sort all them out, you know, I'm at the stage where I can genuinely, like, racing AMS2 has become the best driving experience I've had in sim racing. The false feedback, like, is one of the most important aspects in sim racing, and it can make or break a title. It really can. Now, to me, ACC's false feedback feels incredibly light and vague, but people say it's the most accurate representation of GT3 false feedback. I just can't see it. I can't get my head around the way the cars handle in ACC, and I put a lot of hours into ACC. I enjoy it, but I don't play it anymore because I just don't like the way the cars drive. It's not how I feel like a car should feel. Now, iRacing has always been my go-to sim, and to me that was like the false feedback that I kind of looked for in every other sim. But now I've played, like, since playing Race Room and AMS2, the cars for me behave how I think a car should behave, and iRacing just, like, I can feel the limit in AMS2 and Race Room. I can feel when I'm about to lose grip or the wheel will go a bit light. I can feel what the car's going to do, and they do a really good job of conveying what the car will do, like through a false feedback wheel. At iRacing, I just seem to get to the limit, and then I'm off. Then I'm sliding across the grass and can't stop, and that's it. I'm done. It's not all rainbows in AMS2. There are cars that need a lot of work, but like I said, they are continually working on the game. The weather system, like in AMS2, is just, you could. I haven't sort of tested it out, but I've seen on other YouTube channels, you can input a date and, like, the game knows what the weather was like on that particular day in history, and it will set up your race or your session just like that. It's just, again, in VR, and I'll keep going back to VR. It's breathtaking. It really is. It was just that first time when I was in the car at Monza, and that mist started rolling in. I was, honestly, it was quite a surreal experience because, like, the VR in this game is brilliant. Like, the visual, for, like I say, you don't lose hardly anything. And I'm on, just, like I say, a standard, like, a mid-range PC with a Quest 2, so it's not even like a 4K or an 8K headset or an HP Reverb G2 Turbo Nutter headset. Just a Quest 2, like, through the link cable. Brilliant, but of all the the positives of AMS2, there is the elephant in the room, and that elephant is quite a big aspect of the game. Now, multiplayer. All right, mate, get past me first. Now, there was whispers a short while ago that Low Fuel Motorsport were trying to bring their online multiplayer system to AMS2, and I was like, wow, unbelievably brilliant. Can I look at that sun just bursting through there? Look, how beautiful is that? And then the mist, just again, getting sidetracked. Now, they have, like, really transformed ACC for multiplayer because ACC had their competition servers, which were quite good, but it's not the same. I mean, the thing with iRacing, and the thing that iRacing does absolutely perfectly, and no one else has even come close, is the matched multiplayer. They do multiplayer better than anything, and that's why it's so popular, iRacing. It's not because it's the best looking, it's not because it's the cars handle the best, it's because they have literally cornered the market in match multiplayer, and that's why it's the biggest sim in the world. And I think it'd be years before any title can compete with it until they can bring a low fuel motorsport, but bring it in-house into the actual game. If this game had iRatings multiplayer, it would be massive. I've got no doubt about that. You know, look at the amount of content right now on R-Factor 2. And that's purely because low fuel motorsport have integrated their, you know, they work their magic on it. It's done the same with ACC, it's done the same with R-Factor 2. It would have done the same with AMS2 if low fuel motorsport were able to bring their system and their magic to this game. LFM are absolutely brilliant. They've invigorated ACC. They're doing the same for R-Factor 2, and it's just a shame they couldn't do the same for AMS2, because this truly is, I think, like one of the most underrated. This and Race Room are the most underrated sims out there. I think they feel better than any other sim. Force feedback, and I've only got well, I say cheap. It's a nice wheel. It's a T300 RS. Belt drive. Well, I would love a direct drive wheel. I just can't afford it at the moment. But when I do, I feel sure that the force feedback and the physics and stuff in AMS2 will feel even better. You know, but yeah, the multiplayer, it's pretty much non-existent. I mean, you do get online lobbies, but like ACC, they tend to be a little bit of a crash fest. You do get lucky at times, and you get some big grids full of clean racers, and not just driving around crashing people. But they're few and far between, they really are. I'm not taking into account league racing. I'm sure there's some amazing leagues and communities out there that have clean racing, and AMS2 is their preferred sim. I've not come across them yet because I've not really, you know, given AMS2 a go. But I for sure will be looking for leagues and AMS2 communities now. Now that I've really given this a go, I've gone in depth with it. I've really got to grips with the cars, the way it handles, the force feedback. I just love it. I love the sim. Absolutely love it. It's not all doom and gloom. I mean, some aspects of the multiplayer are really good. I love the ease of which you can set up a server. It's you know, just click of a few buttons, few sliders, adjust the settings that you want, and bang, you've got a server. Like, if you're a content creator, I know Gamer Muscle, he does regular subscriber races on AMS2, on ACC, on all sorts. And like, I think he even said the ease that you can use AMS2's multiplayer to create a server is brilliant, and a lot of sims should do it. It's good enough for Gamer Muscle, it's good enough for me. And I mean, you've got all your staples there. You've got your time trialing, hot lapping, leaderboards. Another thing I really like, and it's not that I can't afford setups, but on the big ones, like iRacing, ACC, everyone is using paid-for setups, you know, and I haven't got the experience, for one, to be able to set up a car from scratch. Maybe if I'd actually learned and taught myself, it would save me a bit of a headache. But what I like in AMS2 is you can go on the time trial leaderboards, and you can see like you can use the setups that these drivers have used, and you can modify them to suit you. So they're obviously a lot more experienced in setting up a car. So you can use them. You just download the setup that they used, and then you can modify it like to suit you, like to suit your driving style. You know, you might, you know, move your brake bias and brake slightly later, or you might need a car a bit more stable. So, you know, all sorts of things. You can just adjust the setup a little bit. You ain't got to pay for it. I love that. I love the fact you can just get in a car and drive and be competitive. It's just, honestly, there's just so much about, I mean, as a single player game, this is probably one of the best value sim racing titles out there in the market. The AI can be a little bit off at times, you know, but they'll fight you. They'll fight you. They'll be aggressive if you set them up that way. You know, they'll slipstream you. Honestly, you can mod the game and have real world drivers and cars like skins. You know, I mean, having a grid full of like this year's or last year's Formula One grid drivers, all the liveries, etc. It's a far better experience, and setting up a championship, it's a far better experience, in my opinion, than the official F1 game. Honestly, you know, and if your bag is like, for me, I love like Formula One from the era of Prost, Senna, Piquet. You know, that's my era. You set it up. You got the car. You know, there's modders out there that have got all the skins for all the liveries and all the names of the drivers. It's just brilliant. For immersion, it's just like, again, in VR, it is unrivaled. It really is. I love it. I absolutely love AMS2. As we sort of get into 2023, is AMS2 worth getting? Absolutely yes. It's not even you know, again, it's a no-brainer. Right now, it's on such a deal. Why would you not? Why would you not spend 14 quid on the base game? 14 quid in iRacing gets you what? A car or a track? One singular car and one singular track. That's it. And then if you don't carry on subscribing, you can't use it. And I'm not hating on iRacing. That's their price model. I was happy to pay it, but like, I'm not now. You know, like I'll still go back to iRacing maybe, but I've not renewed my subscription yet, and I actually don't know if I'm going to yet. I really don't. You know, this for me is the best driving experience I've had, and I'm just on a flat screen at the moment. I'm not even using the full potential what I bought it for, and that's VR. And the immersion you get in VR is just insane. All the tracks, all the cars. I mean, I hope to see more GT3 cars. I know it's been done to death and everyone drives GT3s, it gets boring. And you're right, it does get boring, which is why I've not been playing iRacing. Because the GT cars, you know, the race is just boring. They are boring. And the thing with iRacing, or iRacing I should say, is the continual grind of iRacing. You know, like, as much as like I try not to focus on iRacing, you do. You know, you want clean races because you want to keep your A license, or you want to keep moving up iRacing and getting to the higher splits. But you'll have 2 or 3 good races, then you'll have 4 or 5 bad races. And as much as we all say, oh yeah, I've just been so unlucky, and it puts you on a downer when you've like, you know, you might have had like 3 or 4 hours of really careful, good racing, and then it's destroyed by 2 bad races where you've been taken out, or you know, you've just put a wheel on the grass, you've lost control, and you've taken yourself out of a race. The netcoded iRacing, like you tap a car and so, well, more often than not, they're off the track and they're out of the race. At least with AMS2, you can have a bit of a door bang, and it's not the end of your race. It's like proper racing. Yeah, look, a little bang, a little tap. In iRacing, probably one of us would have been off into the nether. So, like, yeah, going into next year, is AMS2 worth getting? It is a no-brainer. If you haven't got it in your library, why haven't you? Don't be influenced by the early reviews, because honestly, with a little bit of work, a little bit of setup, like, you know, on the camera angles, like, this car's not bouncing all over the road anymore. It's just not. And like the false feedback feel, I'm not sliding around the corner. I mean, I'm using custom force feedback file. It's one of the most popular ones. It's a play on words of R factor. But I don't want to say it on stream or on the video because I might get banned for swearing. But instead of F-A-C-T, it's F-U-K-T. R factor. Oh, that's the FFB file I'm using, and I absolutely love it. You can feel the wheel loading up, like it's, you know, just brilliant. And in my opinion, this force feedback knocks the absolute spots off of iRacing's force feedback. Oh, a little bit of that. I don't know why I'm racing, it's a cool down lap. Anyway, let's just let's come out of this. But let's just do I want to set up? No, I don't want to set up. I'm not going to set up a VR session. But there will be some videos coming up in VR. But look at the circuit selection. Like, if we just go to historic Monza, 71. Select that. Yeah, I'll just start. Now this is historic Monza with the banking, and it's just like I'm doing it in a modern car, but in an older car, it's breathtaking. In VR, again in VR, it's just amazing. If I was Razor, honestly, if I was the developer of this game, I would put all of my development eggs into the multiplayer. Oh, we're out onto the old bit of the circuit. If they can get multiplayer, anything akin to Race Room, yeah, even Race Room. Race Room's multiplayer would be a step in the right direction. But if they could get anything like Low Fuel Motorsport or iRacing's multiplayer, this game would be huge. I truly believe that. I've not even touched on like the things like the weather system. And like the live track, like puddles forming. Like, I mean, ACC does it as well. Oh, I don't know where I'm going here. But like dry lines forming, and it's just breathtaking. Oh, that's a parabolica. Oh dear. Okay, Paul. Just made yourself look an idiot now. Now on the in a bit. Onto the banking. I think there's a chicane first. This in VR is just ridiculous. Excuse me. Another chicane. Gone straight through it. Never mind. Yeah, track limits. Very unsportsmanlike. See, before when I had, before I set up the cameras, the outside world was bouncing around all over the place, and like it did feel like the cars were a bit floaty. So yeah, let's wrap this up. If you're on the fence about buying AMS2, I don't even know why you're on the fence. It's like I say, it's 14 quid for the base game. I think about 60. Let's just say 55 quid. £55 for everything. More content than you can wave a stick at, honestly. If they get the multiplayer right, this game could be absolutely massive. So yeah, you can set up, you know, single races, test days, official events, your time trials, you know, it's all there, just like everything else. Guys, honestly, give it a go. There's going to be a lot more AMS2 content coming on the channel, and you'll be able to see for yourself. If you haven't got AMS2, go and get it. It's 14 quid. Trust me. Trust me, I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Don't trust me, but trust me. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. All helps with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, if you want to see more AMS2 content, give us a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to play this game. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.